V-Gates, crazy German fans. How's it going, guys? Been a couple weeks. I've been on Thanksgiving break here in the States. So we're right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. In fact, my wife and daughter are right upstairs getting a Christmas tree decorated, and just made a nice gingerbread house from scratch. So all kinds of things going on here at the Crazy German household. Kind of excited this week. A couple great things going on. Number one, being a Star Wars fan, huge Star Wars fan. We just got the first trailer releases of the new Star Wars movie coming out next December. Well, it'll be December 2015. So, kind of psyched about that. I've watched a few of the different trailers and rewatched them, looking for, little signs of what it's going to be like. It's hard to say right now. It kind of looks nice. Looks like they did a good job on it. So, but we'll see. Other happenings. I want to give a shout out to the Beasts of War guys, being a backstager. They just moved to a bigger studio, a new studio, and they've been doing through some ups and downs the last couple years. But they're a great bunch of guys. They make some awesome videos. I highly recommend that if you stumble onto my channel, definitely go to Beasts of War. They're in Northern Ireland, and for $70 a year, you can buy a backstage pass. It's got additional video, but it helps support what these guys are doing. They do put a lot of great content on. About all the newest, latest games coming out, updates for games, all kinds of stuff. Tips on painting, tips on making boards. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. Very professionally done. But I can't say enough good things about these guys. One of these days I hope to head over that way and maybe visit them. But a lot of stuff going on. Let's see. Here's the big one for me, anyways, is upside down, backwards. The Empire. I got all my projects done. I sat around for a couple of weeks thinking, now what am I going to do? I've got a decent Beastman force, a decent Dark Elf force. There's nothing in the wings, so to speak, coming onto the shop table. So I broke down and went to the Games Workshop store, which personally I really don't like to do, to be quite honest with you. It's just when you go in there, you feel like you're getting pounced on, So anyway. If you work at the Games Workshop, sorry, but that's just kind of how I feel. But I'd rather buy my stuff online, honestly. I mean, it comes right to my door. I don't have to put up with all the nonsense. So I picked up the Empire. I figured it was a good mid-tier army. It's a very broad army. It's one of the core races in the storyline of Warhammer. Kind of the reason I went with Beastmen. They're one of the first chaotic armies. The problem with the Beastmen, I've come to find, is that they're not very competitive. They're considered a bottom tier army at this point. I had no idea. I just, again, going back to our previous video with Flames of War, do your research. I really bought the Beastmen because I really love the models, the Giant, the Cygor. It's just amazing models. Dark Elves, my son picked out. We ended up getting a dragon, great model. I think I've showed that on other videos. But wow, I mean, it's just a lot of great things going on in the workshop. I've got most of them built. I bought the starter box. So I built a unit of spearmen. I built a unit of the gunners that they come with. and a unit of the Reichsguard Knights, which are horse-mounted knights. We'll go out here to the workshop. I'll show you briefly what I'm doing here. Played some Flames of War this weekend, or this week, right at Thanksgiving. Germans got their butts kicked. I showed you the setup before. The Germans are trying to take a defensive American position, and unfortunately the Germans still don't have enough oomph. Been looking at the battle and kind of doing some thinking and some things I could do differently. I think in the scenario that I'm dealing with out here, I really need to concentrate my forces instead of dividing them up. I had basically 3 battle groups I divided them into, and I think next I'm going to try to replay this match again with the same list. I'm going to swap out one of my German artillery units so I can have better artillery. So we'll go out here. I'll show you some of the tips I can give you on this kind of scenario. It's a classic World War II scenario, though. It's it's a bridgehead. So we got a river. We got some shallow spots in the river to cross that can be crossed, and we have 2 bridges. The Americans are stationed in a small Italian town, and they've basically kind of dug in. They've got dugouts where they got their tanks. So we're talking, and you think, wow, I got all this heavy hardware coming at these guys. I'm sure going to be able to punch through. Every move, I move up my 8 inches, 12 inches on my tanks, and I just got whittled down, whittled down, whittled down, whittled down. And if, like I said, if I was a battlefield commander, I would have said withdraw. I'm not going to just squander equipment. So I kept pushing for a couple more turns to see if I could get a breakthrough, but the big thing that was killing me for the Americans was those P-47s with the bombardments from the air. And that was killing me. I had anti-air, which helped me a little bit, but honestly, if you don't have enough anti-air, 3 or 4 units of anti-air really covering all of your units, assign one to each platoon, you're really taking a chance, because those suckers are so devastating. The P-47s drop those bombs on you, and the top armor of your tanks is worthless. I lost a half track early on of Panzer Grenadiers who were blown up. So, like I said, we'll go out here in a minute. It's better to show you the battle, but to kind of let you know, Crazy German got his butt kicked by his nephew, who is also in the military. He's Army recon scout. So he basically played Americans. I took my German forces. Nuremberg. Now here's the thing. Now we'll throw this out to you guys. I have not really started playing smoke much. I plan on, by the next game, we're really going to start covering smoke more. We've always kind of stayed away from it because it seemed ambiguous and kind of fishy. But I did watch a video from Beasts of War where they covered smoke for Flames of War, and it was a lot more clearer, and I did reread the rules. What they're doing is they're taking little cotton balls and they just mark out the area with like 4 cotton balls to form you could form like a square or a range of where the smoke is concentrated. I think if I would have used some smoke and trying to come across the bridge, that may have helped me some. I also need to look at can I throw smoke onto my own units, because I know that tanks in the World War II used to use smoke on their own tanks. They have little smoke bottles outside of their tank. They would shoot those off, and maybe that would help with the aircraft. Maybe I'm going to look into that, but this is a really interesting battle setup we've had. I've been trying to bust through, and we've tried 3 or 4 different ways of getting through this bridgehead, and we just cannot do it. The Germans are overpowered even. The Germans have more points than the Americans, and they still cannot bust through that bridgehead. So it's kind of being a little bit of a challenge. It's now who can crack the American riverfront, basically, kind of challenge. So what else? So yeah, build my Empire Army. A lot of killer models, just amazing. I'm going to get my starter box done. I'm going to go definitely pick up a steam tank. Even if it's not any good, I just wanted to collect it. We've got, what are the couple others I definitely want to snag? And if you guys out there are watching this and you're Empire players, you know, throw at me some of your favorite units to use. I'm definitely going to get more a unit of swordsmen. Instead of doing swordsmen, I went with the spearmen. I thought they were going to be kind of versatile. I also would like to build a unit of maybe 20 or so crossbowmen. Get some more of the gunners. Get another tank or maybe a mortar. I built my my unit that came. Now this Celestial Hurricanum, amazing. See that sucker? That is an absolutely amazing model. Here's the other one I like. If I can get that on camera here. It's got the little laser type gun that's all the different lenses. I mean, it is just ridiculous. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I wanted to go over. I haven't been buying a whole lot of Games Workshop stuff lately. The stuff I've got on the table now I'm playing with, I probably bought a couple years ago with my son, and I put them aside and I picked at them a little bit, and I finally really pushed this year and got them finished. Got movement trays, all that 9 yards. I really started getting into the rules. The rules, overall, the rules are pretty good. It's definitely interesting. It's more of a chess game where you spend for the first half of the game moving, and that ties in with my other game that I played with Flames of War. And Warren Johnson on Beasts of War made a great point this morning on his Weekender, and that is most of the games are won or lost on how you make your moves, and that goes right to Warhammer Fantasy. I mean, the first half of your game you're really spending a lot of time moving. I found just a little bit that I've played that the ranged weapons are important early in the game. So I've found out you definitely want to have, like my Beastmen have a stone thrower. He's good for picking up big rocks and throwing them at big blocks of troops early in the game to try to whittle some of their numbers down. We've got archers, you know, crossbowmen, just anything you can start doing volley fire early in the game to start whittling troops down as they're moving in on each other, and then the close-in combat. So, and it's hard to beat those dark elves. I mean, it's just, they are brutal with combat. So, yeah, kind of excited about going back to the Games Workshop. The rules overall are good, and then there's a lot of stuff like with the magic phase and stuff, which I'm just starting to get into using magic and the winds of magic. Personally, my initial impression is, even though I've heard that they've really gotten the rules more condensed with magic, there's too many steps. You don't. To me, that just seems too much. You know, and it's the dispel. I would just take away dispel. I cast a spell, and if I pull it off, you get a spell cast on your troops. Because it's already bad enough when you do 2-hit, 2-save, ward save. A lot of units go get a ward. It's too many saves. That would be my only complaint. There's too many opportunities to make the game last for too long, and it stretched the game out for too long. Why not have a hit and a save and be done with it? That just doesn't make any sense. So I can see in the future here we're going to just start having some house rules. I'll just throw some of this stuff out because it's just too... It slows the game down too much, and it's, when you get right down to it, it's not necessary. What it is, it's an appeasement for people that always want a way out of them getting killed. So they got 2 and 3 layers of getting extra rolls to try to save their troops. You know, saving them with magic and saving them with ward saves and all these saving throws, and it's just it's too much to keep track of, especially when you start factoring in the different kinds of armor and different psychic abilities and this ability and that ability. It's kind of the way I feel 40K has turned into. It's just gotten polluted with all these specialty rules and specialty features of these troops, where people have, over the years, the diehard players still have stuck with it, it seems, but people just come into the hobby just go, this is stupid. I can't, my mind can't keep track of all of this, right? So, anyway, my plan is I want to get some sort of tablet, probably Amazon's tablet, and start doing more of the PDFs and online books and converting this stuff to a digital format so I can keep it with me at the table. It's easier to reference than flipping through the book. I'll probably still buy books just to keep them in my library and to look through them when I'm upstairs in the living room. But as far as gameplay goes, I definitely want to go to some kind of a tablet. But yeah, that's my first impression of the Games Workshop Warhammer Fantasy. It's just, overall it's a good game and it's fun. I did have fun. I have had fun playing it, but I like 40K. It seems awfully overcomplicated. You think to yourself, why would they need to add this in here? This just makes it more confusing. But anyways, that's just me. Now, like I said before on other videos, if you really think it's corny and it's stupid and it doesn't make any sense, change it. Don't use the rule. Just make up your own rule that makes sense. You know. What else? Oh, Games Workshop, way overpriced. I'm sorry if a starter army for this was $105. Okay, this book was $45 in the US. Before I got out the door with a starter box and a book, it was $167. Yeah, I can see spending that. I make decent living, but a kid that's in college, a kid in middle school, a kid in high school, a kid in his early 20s just getting started, that's a lot of money. I don't understand what it is going to take, and that's why you think about it, you look at a lot of these tournaments and you see these tournaments like you know, Bad Dice and stuff, and these guys, it's mostly guys my age, and it's guys in their 30s and stuff, because we are the only ones that can afford to play the damn games. It's ridiculous. And that's why you've seen a lot of the younger folks out there gravitating to these Infinities, War Machine, Hordes. They're skirmish games, a lot less models to purchase. The rule books are a lot more reasonable. You can also, a lot of these newer games have got the PDFs, so you can get the digital copy of the book on your pad or on your phone. Some of the games I've noticed, they're giving the rules away for free. They want you to buy their models. So I'll tell you, Games Workshop's going to have a tough road to hoe, because if they don't start bringing young guys into this game, it's going to die. You know, it'll just gradually die off, including 40K, because the models are so cost prohibitive. And my wife looks at me and says, it's just a box of plastic. The markup has got to be outrageous. And I'm all for people making money, and as you've seen my other videos, I've always defended the free market system, and that's the way we should work it. If you find that their games are too expensive, don't buy them, and eventually the prices will go down. And as I predicted 2 videos ago, my prediction is sooner or later those prices are going to come down. They have got to come out with a starter army that's $50, that has everything in it now, and a rule book, and rulers, and dice, everything you need to get started in this game, even if they just break even on it, to get people into the game. And a starter paint set, you know, $15 for a starter paint set. So I can walk out of the store for $75 and have everything I need to get started playing 40K or fantasy right off the get-go. Then when I come back and I buy the add-on models, like I'm already planning on doing to flesh out the army, still even those models are still too overpriced to really keep these people going into the game. You're going to have to get that $80 friggin' kit down to friggin' $40. You're gonna have to start cutting them in like half. Moms will walk in there with their teenage sons and still look at a $40 model and go, that seems awfully pricey. But they're asking $80 for some of this stuff. I bought that model. I love the model and I love putting it together. I can afford the $80, but I'm 49 years old, right? I've been busting my butt for years to make good money. Most people are not going to spend money for $80 like that. I don't know. It's kind of sad. I love the game so far. I love the models especially. And even if I convert it over to, say, Kings of War, when the new Kings of War from Mantic comes out, the version 2, I may just use their models and switch the rules. Okay? And Ronnie over at Mantic, he's so smart. He's getting you in. If you get on their Kickstarter for $50, you're getting a big rule book, a small mini rule book, tokens, and there's a variety of other things he's thrown in for $50 because he knows that's gonna hook you into the game and get you started, and it's not gonna bleed you. All right, and this is a message out to Games Workshop, guys. You built your small stores for bringing new people into the game, right? Young new players. How do you expect young new players to come and drop almost $200 on just a starter army and an army book? How many kids you think are running around out there are going to drop $200? I'm telling you, they're not. I talk to the store people and they're telling me people walk in and they walk out. The only people coming in there and buying stuff are rich kids, which is this much of the market, okay? Guys like me, guys in their 30s, that's it. I mean, that's basically your market. Anyway, we'll get off that topic. I'm sure a lot of you agree, and stuff I've read on posts on my videos, on other videos, it is just all over the place, and they just don't get it. I guess they figure it's enough volume over the entire world. It's just enough to keep them where they want to be, and that's just how it's going to be. Until their sales fall more, those prices are not going to come down, but the way it's looking now, they're going to just keep going down. They come out with new models. They come out with this, what is a $400 paint set? Are you freaking kidding me? There's no way you need that many colors of paints. Most of the paints you have, you can mix with other colors if you're using Vallejo. And that's the other complaint I have with you, Games Workshop. You need to go to a dropper bottle, not a pot. The pot opens up, and if you don't get some paint out of the pot and put it on a wet palette or something else that you're putting water on to water it down a little bit, you got to keep droppering or adding water to your pots and shaking them up. It's just, you know, come on, get with the times. Most serious hobby painters are using dropper bottles, especially if you're using an airbrush. Then you're dropping paint into your airbrush. You cannot do that with Games Workshop paints. And they just redid their paints 2 years ago with new lids and this and that so that they wouldn't dry out so bad, blah blah blah. Everyone knows those are the worst paints to start out with. So if you're watching this video and you're a young person just getting into the hobby, do not buy Citadel or Games Workshop paints. You buy Vallejo paints. That's what everyone gets. And eventually you go, this is stupid, my paints dry out, there's always a crust around the top, and Vallejo goes drop, 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 and they mix well. They're just awesome paints, very good colors. What can I tell you? It's like, it's like a lot of things these days, guys, and we all know on my little ramble here. Everything is just who, you ask yourself, who's running things? Who is running these companies? I'll tell you how. I'm a small business owner. I do the work myself. These big companies, they spend, a lot of these people spend too much time playing golf and goofing off, and they're not really even running their companies. They hire people to do things. They make bad decisions. They hire people who aren't even hobbyists or modelers in this case. Perfect example. We've had a stringer of lights for our Christmas tree, a big long stringer of lights for 2 years. Okay, this is the second set we've had replaced in only 2 years, 2 sets. So basically every year we've had to replace a string of lights from General Electric for our Christmas tree, and my wife and daughter just had to go up there to the store again today to buy another string of lights because that string didn't even last in a bin. We keep it in a nice plastic bin. It's protected. We have a very dry storage area. They make those things that just break while they sit for the year before the next year that you use them. Every year I pull that string of lights out. Brand new string of lights I just bought the year before, and I plug them in. They're broken. They're broken. This is a string of lights they're all wired in. It's not supposed to, the lights are not supposed to burn out. If 1 or 2 lights burns out, it doesn't burn the whole string out. So we bought that kind, okay? But this isn't a good example of everything is junk, right? Everything is junk until you get over a certain level, okay? Like with a car or with your house, with certain things, appliances and things. But you got to spend a lot to get to that level to get anything that's of any value. You know, these people running around on Black Friday going to buy a no-name Lenovo 50-inch flat screen. How long do you think that Lenovo, have you even heard of Lenovo? I mean, come on. Everything in my house is Sony or HP. Everything in my office is HP. But you're going to pay a premium for that. Seriously? A Lenovo 50-inch TV, what, next year it'll be broken. So was it worth standing in line at Walmart to buy a $200 50-inch TV that's going to be broken in a year and in the landfill? No, it's not. So, like I've said on my other videos, what we need in this world is good consumers. If we're good consumers and we stop buying this stuff, and I asked my wife when she was out, do not buy GE. If you have to go to 4 stores to get Christmas lights that are not manufactured by General Electric, that's what we need to do, because if we keep buying the same lights, they'll keep making the same junky lights. So that's my point here. We as consumers have got to direct our money towards quality companies like Beasts of War, okay? People that put some love and care into things and generally give a damn about what they're doing. Those are the people that deserve my money, right? When I go up to the store and I ask someone to help me with something, and that person takes time to show me and explain to me how it works, that's where I'm going to spend my money. So that's what we got to do. Let's all agree we've solved the world's problems. We are, from here at this point forward, when you buy something that's a piece of junk, we put that name brand or the manufacturer in our head and we say, we're not going to purchase anything from them again, okay? Which is why I never go into a Best Buy store. That's another story. I think that's about it. Get off my little ramble here. Playing some good games, building some great models. The Empire models I'm putting together are great models. Lots of detail, lots of fun already. So that's basically it. I can't think of anything else. Please post any comments down below. If there's anything I can help clarify for you with one of the game systems that I play, you know, feel free. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you're experiencing these kinds of things and have the same kind of things, I've also found it's important that like-minded individuals need to bind together, okay, and spread the word. You know, it'd be like a chain reaction. Hopefully, people will just put a stop to the nonsense. Okay, So that's one of my little pet peeves. Anyways, again, check out Beasts of War. Let me know if you're a Warhammer Fantasy player, if you can give me some tips on my Empire army, my Beastman army, or my Dark Elf army. I would appreciate that. And let's go out here to the workshop. I'll show you a few things that I'm working on. Alright, sports fans. Here I pretty well got myself set up for the day. My build table is empty. I got a few things I'm assembling upstairs in the kitchen. Got a little Lord of the Rings on, put me in the mood. But here's what I do have built and primed. Went with a white primer for the night because I'm going to do my test piece here. Obviously we're going to be doing a lot of silver, so I really wanted to brighten that up as much as I could. So there's one of the Reiksguard Knights. Great model. And then these are my gunners. Primed them in black. And for you new guys stumbling on the channel, there's your Vallejo paints in like a dropper bottle. And then I just put little drops. I'm using it's a styrofoam plate. You can mix. I also use just a cheap eyedropper. I'll keep a glass of clean water where I can put and thin my paints down, and then I use another glass just for cleaning my brushes. Big believer in using the Wargamer. Oh, the name escapes me. Army Painter. Pretty much two brushes I use. I use the Fine, and then I use the Regiment. So those are pretty much my two workhorse brushes. And then I still have some of the Citadel paints just still hanging around that I've had. I'm still trying to use them up, but don't buy any more of those. I did stumble onto something, Blue Table Painting in Utah. I watch Sean's videos daily, every morning when I get up on my Xbox. But they use, now I've used for years, guys, the black and the white, $15 a can paint from Games Workshop. And I noticed that he's using this, it's a Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Coat. Now this is the flat black, and it will work on plastic. It says right on the can that it works on wood, metal, plastic. And I tell you, I picked a can of that up yesterday. Came down here and primed my models, and it is good stuff. It's got the exact same spray nozzle as the Games Workshop. See that? And this stuff, although I do like it, and it's an acrylic paint, which is the Games Workshop. It is expensive. $15 a can is pretty outrageous. I'm going to tell you real quick what this cost me. Take a wild guess. Rust-Oleum 2X, this cost $2.69 at my local hardware shop. So you do the math, and I just used it, and it's every bit as good on coverage, on how fast it dries, as the Games Workshop. I will let you know, this is down here, I've just been using that up mostly on projects for my boards and stuff, overcoating my boards. This stuff is garbage. Don't ever buy this to put this on your models. It's made by Armory. It's a clear matte sealer. It leaves like a white haze on your models. It is absolute garbage. This is pretty much what I stick with when I use a spray lacquer. I know it says it's a kind of a small can. I've tried a bunch of different products, but this Testors or Model Master, it's the same company makes this. Model Master makes this. There's a can that I use for like a base coat of tan on a project. That's what I'll typically do. Until I redo my basement, I'm going to put a spray booth over there, a really nice dedicated spray booth for my airbrush. But this Testors, it's the best thing out there. You know, if you use it sparingly, You shake the can thoroughly. You can get a lot out of this little can. You'd be surprised. It's pretty full. But that's my go-to until I get a good airbrush system. Real quick, just to show you, here's the battle. I got my tower done. My tower, great model, 80 bucks, a little pricey, but when you consider the price of all the Games Workshop stuff, that's about what you're going to pay. So basically, yeah, just working with the rules, working out a new plan here on different tactics. I can tell you right now that I've learned that this guy, this Cygor who throws rocks, you get him early in the game throwing rocks at big blocks of troops, and he can put some hurt. And he just took out all those, and these guys are lethal in the game. These repeater crossbowmen. He took most of those guys out with a rock. Okay, so that rock can be lethal. You don't want to get into one of the games. I was trying to throw a damn rock at the friggin' dragon and the evil sorceress on the dragon. That was the worst way to use that guy. Okay, because you could hardly ever hit him. Then I realized, oh, I need to start throwing that rock at big blocks of troops. So that's what I started doing. This little quick game that we played, and he was getting a lot of use. I also found out using my Minotaurs, holding my Minotaurs back a little bit, because if you put them in too early and you don't use them as a flanking troop to try to hit your opponent, say from the flank, let's say this group of beastmen eventually comes into contact with these dark elf rapier guys, I could save my my Minotaurs to come in and flank them on the side. That's what I've noticed is their best use. So, but we're figuring our way through it. Starting to use the spells. Got my magic cards out. So, and then we got the Great Bray Shaman, and he is, of course, lives in the tower. That's his abode. So pretty cool stuff. Over here to the battle, where I got my butt kicked. You can see all the little smoke plumes. Those are kills on my tigers. That was the last 2 tigers. Then I lost, let's see, I lost 2 tigers back here. And as you can see the trail of carnage as I tried to go up this middle. And then my Panther Brigade over here, so you suffered a casualty, and I just finally pulled the plug, because as I kept moving forward towards this river, I just kept losing more and more equipment, The Stoogs were bogged down in the woods. They couldn't move up or they would have been annihilated, because their top armor is like 0. And then look at the Americans. 1 tank destroyed from an artillery fire. My artillery in the back. So anyways, like I said before, I'm going to start seeing about using smoke. See if I can use some smoke cover. That will help me out. And then I think I'm going to concentrate my forces more. I mean, I'm going to pick, once he deploys, he does the initial deployment because he's on defense. This is pretty much how he always deploys. I'm going to just focus all of my troops on one bridgehead, and we are just going to mass assault one side of this board, or the middle, but one of the 3 points of entry into this village, so that I can annihilate them. But you can see for yourself, it wasn't going anywhere. So again, this is a nice little mini challenge, something you can stumble on into in gaming, where you have a opponent where you just can't beat him, and you can't beat him, and you come at him and you try this, and hey, how I look at it, that's a challenge. I'm going to sit back and go, what am I doing wrong? Is there a better way to look at this? And yes, there usually is. It's like a little hard nutshell. You just have to keep tapping at it and hitting it, and eventually you find the weakness and you break through. So like I said, what I'm really starting to come to the realization with Flames of War is, like Warren said this morning, it's your movements. I mean, if you spread your forces out too thin, or you don't make the right calculated movements, you can lose the whole game just in making 2 or 3 bad moves. So coming back into the shop here, we were gonna basically just end this session. Again, we're gonna go through the weekend here. We got, let's see, today is the 20 I don't remember what day it is. 29th. Hey, I've been eating turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy, homemade pies, you name it, my wife can cook it. She is a total gourmet cook. So when I first got married, I was a wee 120. Now I'm pushing 200 pounds. So I'm a solid muscle, but that goes to show you what a good wife who knows how to cook, what she can do for you. So just a shout out to all you guys. Thanks for watching the videos. Share and like. You know, make suggestions to guys out there like myself who I can connect with on YouTube. This is a great medium. It's a great way of reaching out to each other as gamers, as modelers, as hobbyists. So yeah, I'll let you guys get going, and ciao.